Hey, so I wanted to film a video about all the books that I read in June, which is a lot. I finished 23 books in June, and that's insane. I understand that. I don't really know how it happened. I mean, we are in COVID times, but I'm not really in quarantine because I'm still working, but I don't know. I'm very self-competitive, so I definitely finished all the books. But I'm just gonna go from the first day of June and then tell you like periodically which ones I read and what I rated them. And this is all personal opinion, obviously. And I'm gonna try to figure out how to put the picture of the ones that I don't have the book for. Because I read a lot of audiobooks and I don't own those physical copies and I don't want to just say the name. So hopefully I'll figure out how to do that. But anyway, so the first book that I read is The Silent Patient. And I don't have the book because I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I gave it a 2 out of 5 stars. I know a lot of people did like it. I thought the main character, the guy, was so annoying. He was so infuriating. He was just egotistical. He was misogynistic. He was I didn't like him, and it made me really dislike the book, to be honest. The second book I read is not here because I lent it to a friend, but I reread Vicious by V.E. Schwab, and I adore that book. I love Vicious. That's one of my favorite books I've ever read. 5 out of 5 stars. Obsessed. It's such an amazing, like, psychological bromance, almost. Like, it's very interesting. It's very gray morally, and I really like that. It's kind of supernatural, superpowery. Great book. Really good. It's like if X-Men, if it was like Xavier and like Charles Xavier and Magneto, but them in like high school, and then when they were like, or them in college and they were 30. It's good. However, I did read Vengeful after that, and even though I love the look of this book, like, it's so beautiful, it's so pretty, it's so soft, it's like matte, it's freaking gorgeous, I didn't like it. I think I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars, which was very disappointing for me. I just didn't really care. I really felt like I was like kind of dragging myself through just to read scenes between Victor and Eli, who are the main characters in Vicious, who are fantastic. And their scenes in this book, fantastic. But they bring in a lot of new characters, like Marcella and June, and talk a lot more about like Sydney and stuff. And that's fine. But in my personal opinion, V.E. Schwab writes male characters phenomenally. She has so much depth, I feel like, to her male characters, especially Victor and Eli. And then I felt like we met Marcella and she was very one-dimensional, personally. June I found a lot more interesting, but she was not the point of the book. Like, it was really Marcella. And I didn't like it. Like, she was a trope of herself, in my opinion. Didn't like it. Let's see. The next one I read was We Are the Ants, and I know that's a big one on Booktube. I've heard a lot of people talk about it, so I listened to the audiobook, and I really liked it. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. It was weird. It was definitely strange. It was odd, is what I would say. I don't know what it is that held me back from giving it 5 stars. It just wasn't a favorite. Like, it wasn't like 5 out of 5 stars for me. I liked it. I really did. Like, I really enjoyed it, and I would never like, you know, not recommend it to somebody. But if somebody was asking me to recommend books to them, or like saying, oh, is this something you would recommend? I wouldn't go out of my way to talk about it, I guess. Okay, so this next one is quite kind of random, or something that I feel like I would have to read again to get a good review on it, but I don't want to read it again because I don't think I'll ever recapture this emotion. But Monday's Not Coming is so shocking to me. Like, this was such a shocking book because I gave this 5 out of 5 stars, or sorry, I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. It is young adult. It's weird. It starts as middle grade and then it goes into young adult and then it goes to like new adult. This was a wild ride. Wild. Like, I cried so hard at the last like 70 pages of this book. And I don't just mean like, oh, I teared up at page 70 and then I teared up at page 55. No, I mean cried the entire last 70 pages. This hit something that I think it was just for me was like a trigger, like for me when it comes to emotions. And it is like friendship and unity and the loyalty of friendship. And this book gutted me. I can't say that it was a great book. It's not. It's good. But the emotions that I felt reading this were intense. And then, let's see. And then I read The Little Prince. I actually found this at a free library a couple streets over from my apartment. And everybody talks about this and I never read it. And I understand now why everybody talks about it. 5 out of 5 stars. This is also wild. Like, shocking. Very shocking. I didn't know what to expect. I've never heard anybody talk about what this book is about, or why people like it so much. But this was so thought-provoking, so just mentally expanding. I feel like it might sound strange, but this is really good. And I think it's done really well. Like, it's just so interesting. Like, I don't know. It's just, I'm sure every copy is different, but, or that there are many copies that are different, but it's just so nice. Like, it's so beautiful. Like, I really loved it. I also felt like I didn't really understand everything in it, which usually kind of throws me off of books, but it didn't for that one. Let's see. And then I read Final Girls by Riley Sager. I think this book is beautiful, like the cover. I love this. I actually picked this up at the Book Nook just because I liked the way it looked. And I've heard of Riley Sager before. I've never read a book by Riley Sager. This is the first one I've read. Didn't like it. Really didn't like it. There's so many people that say it's really good. I gave it 2 out of 5 stars. I didn't like it. I didn't like any of the characters. Like, there was not a single character in this book that I liked. I thought the main character was dumb. And the only reason that she'd gotten this far in her life was luck, and that she was pretty and blonde with a ponytail and rich. I didn't like her. And I didn't like the other final girl. What was her name? Like, Sam, I think? I don't know. I've just been holding on to this so that I can make this review and then to get rid of it. But I didn't like it. And I don't know what it is. Everybody else, I feel like, has read this and really loved it. And I just really hated the characters. That's it. That's my piece. Is there a way I can check this to make sure it's still going? It is. Let's see. Oh, okay. Well, let's go from a 2-star to a 5-star. So the next book I read was Heartstopper by Alice Oseman. This is so cute. This is so cute. It's like everything anybody's ever said about it is 100% correct. This is so, so, so cute. Like, I wish that they didn't cost as much as they did because I want volume 2 and 3 in my life immediately, but they're like $18 a piece. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe I can wait and get this on sale or something. I don't know. But it's so cute. And it's so simple. Like, I think I read this in like 20 minutes. And I was really trying to get everything out of it. But it's, oh my God, it's so precious. Like, it's so cute. And this is like perfect for Pride Month. Like, I loved it. We just love Alice Oseman. Okay, so another Pride fave, and this was shocking because I had no idea that there was any LGBTQ IA characters in it at all, but SAWKILL girls. Now, I actually listened to this on audio and then immediately, I don't even think I was done with it yet. I think I was like 70% of the way through the book and went and bought it. And it just hasn't come in the mail yet. But I was like, I need to own this book. I need to own this. The reason I needed to own it was not because it's one of the best books I've ever read, or because I need to recommend it to a bunch of people, or anything like that. The reason that I wanted to own it was the first, I think the first book I've ever read where there was a female-female relationship that I loved and I thought was done incredibly well. I thought the description of not only their personalities, their like gay love story, everything about it, I loved it. And I thought it was really cool that it was like a femme-femme relationship. And I don't think you really see that a lot, period. Like, you don't really see that a lot in the world, you know? And I really loved that because that's what I gravitate toward. Like, that's who I am. So I just loved that. It was very like, it was like Stranger Things, I feel like. That's what it was like to me. I really, really liked it. And I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It wasn't perfect. There was a lot of things in it that I felt like could have been better, or that didn't really grab me. But I think that the depiction of LGBTQIA, like there was asexuality, and that, oh my God, that was so beautiful. Like, oh, that really got me. And it was aromantic, like, or she still had like romantic feelings for somebody, and then it was like, okay, maybe I'm like demisexual, and she was trying to figure herself out, and I didn't know any of that stuff was going to happen. It was so, the gay quality of that book, amazing. And speaking of a book I love for the exact same reason, the gay pride phenomenon of Radio Silence. This is so good. Okay, so I listened to this on audio, and then I went and bought the book. I think I bought it like, I wasn't done with the audiobook yet, but I was almost done with it. I bought the audiobook on Amazon. Do I recommend supporting Amazon? No. Sometimes you do it anyway. But I went and bought the book and then read it immediately when it came in. I think I'd finished the audiobook and the next day started reading the physical copy. Now, I will tell you, in my personal recommendation, listen to the audiobook. I wanted to own the physical copy because I wanted to highlight in it. I wanted to highlight in it. I wanted to own it. I wanted people to be able to borrow it from me. But the audio is the way to go. Not that the book isn't fantastic, but the audio, the narrator, she really nailed Aled, like nailed it. And when I read the book, I was like, wow, I never would have pictured him talking or the verbiage, or his tone, the way that she narrated him. And that just changed my view of him so completely and made me fall in love with him. Like, I really loved his character. Listening to her narrate him, she just had the most perfect, soft, like, voice for him. And me reading it, I never would have got that, I don't think. So, but this is fantastic. This 5 out of 5 stars, on my favorites, definitely on my Pride faves. So good, so meaningful. I think if anybody is feeling lonely, misunderstood, they're confused about their sexuality, they're confused about friendship, about education, college, high school grades, parents, siblings, anything, like this has so much in it. It's so good. Depression, like depression without feeling like you really have a reason to be depressed, you know, is a big one in here too. Okay, the next book I read was A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara. Sorry, I didn't list any of the authors at this point, but I listened to it. I was gonna buy the book. And God bless that I did it. Because I hated it. 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 Oh my God, so many people are upset about this because I posted this on my Instagram and my Goodreads and Facebook, and all these people were replying being like, that's one of my favorite books like ever. I'm like, I'm sorry, but I don't understand why people like it. I really don't. And it's funny because the reason I read it was because I saw like Kat's video, like the booktuber, Paperback Dreams. I saw her vlog reading it and sobbing. She was just sobbing. And I was like, I've got to jump on that train. I need to know what this is about. I think I might have teared up like once or twice reading it. But it was, in my opinion, torture porn. There's just absolutely no feasible way in any realm of existence that many horrible things can happen to one person. There's just literally, I mean, this guy's life was worse than like the entirety of the Holocaust. And I know that's very dramatic. I'm sorry. That is way too far. But if you've read this book, you know what I'm talking about. It's like there's a trigger for everything. Every single trigger that there is happens to this guy. Everything. And I'm like, you've lost me at this point. Nothing else matters now. Like nothing else is sad. Anyway, I didn't like it. Okay. The next one is The Martian by Andy Weir. And this is actually like my best friend's, like one of her favorite books. And I went out and bought it because I was like recommending a lot of books to her. And so I went out and got this. I didn't rate this on Goodreads at all. And I don't have a rating for it because I don't have an opinion. I don't have an opinion. I think it, I did highlight in this. I think it is incredibly like intelligent. It's very real sci-fi, like real sci-fi. I felt like I wasn't smart enough to grasp this book. I felt like I didn't get it. I mean, I got it, but I didn't care. Like, I didn't care. I couldn't find myself wanting to keep reading. Like, I just was forcing myself to keep reading it. And I felt bad about that because I really felt like a lot of people love this book and I know it's a really good book. It just wasn't for me. The next one I read is The Couple Next Door by Sherry Lapina. And this is, oh my, I love the way this book feels. Like, oh, yes. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. To be honest, it's a 3 out of 5 stars. But I gave it 4 out of 5 because I had so much fun reading it. It's not like it's a phenomenal book. It's just a fast-paced like mystery. It's just a page turner. But was it a page turner? Boy howdy. It's a page turner. It's like they have such short chapters and they're just like a cliffhanger. Every single chapter, cliffhanger. Like, I loved it. And I loved that because it was so simple, like the book is very simple. I wasn't even trying to figure out what happened because I was just like, next page, next page, next page, next page. I put this in the pocket of my apron at work and read it at work. I think on like 2 shifts. Like I just read it walking to the, like whenever I would go to the bathroom, like I would read it, or I would just walk outside and stand outside for a second and read it, because that's how fast it is to read. Like I think it's like it's 300 pages, but it's like, I mean, barely. Like it's so, I don't know if you can tell. It's like, it's a tiny book already, but then like there's a lot of spacing and it's so fast and it's fun. It's a fun time. I think this is one of those, like, this is a beach read. It was fast. And then I listened to Graceling by Kristen Kishore. And I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars. I really liked this book. Like, I really, really enjoyed this. Way more than I even thought I was going to enjoy it. I really, really loved, oh my God, what's his name? It's Katza and Poe. Poe and Katza. I'm shocked that I even remember that. I like never remember characters' names, but I really loved their relationship. Like, I really liked their relationship. I thought they were so cute and cool. Like, and it's not often that I like ship really characters in books, enough that I like still think about it afterward, but this is a relationship I still think about. Like, I mean, it's only been a couple weeks, but I read a lot of books in that time between when I listened to Graceling, and I definitely think about it. I talked about it with a lot of people, and I loved it. I think I gave it a 4 out of 5 instead of 5 out of 5, because there was things that I felt like were very cliche, and it just didn't strike me like enough. I don't think it like delved deep enough to make me want to give it a 5 out of 5. It didn't like strike me in a way that made me want to give it a 5 out of 5, which is funny because I do feel like there's books that I give 5 out of 5 that are like, anyway, 4 out of 5. Really liked it. Definitely recommend. Okay, so the next one I read was The Woman in Cabin 10 by Ruth Ware. So this is the first Ruth Ware book that I've ever read. I own 3 of her books. I think she's only written 4. 5? I own 3 of them. Anyway, this is the only one I've read so far. I started in this one because I think out of the 3 that I have, this one was like the least talked about, I think. Anyway, I'm revving up to read The Turn of the Key, and I also have The Death of Miss Westaway, I think is what it's called. No, The Death of Miss Westaway, I'm getting. That's the one that I bought on Book Outlet, also before I decided never to shop there again. But then I also own In a Dark, Dark Wood, which I know is really popular. But I got this and I loved it. I loved it. I gave it a 4 out of 5. It's not something that I'm gonna like talk about, you know, continuously. I'm not gonna like go and recommend this book to people, but if they like, I'll keep it because it's something that I'm like, I will let people borrow. Like, oh, you want a mystery? Let's do this. Another reason I gave it a 4 out of 5 is that I did not like the main character. Like, she was so annoying in my opinion. Like, she was the worst journalist, like, of all time. She was like marketedly like the worst journalist. She did not do her job at all. Like, literally, I didn't even understand how she could have been said to be a journalist. But the mystery was very entertaining, and it really had me going. Like, the ending, every time I thought it was the ending, it wasn't the ending. And I was like, there's more, there's more, there's more. Yeah. So, I love that. And then I listened to Warcross by Mary Lou. And this is like the 5th Mary Lou book I think I've read, because I read the Legend trilogy a long time ago. It's been a long time. And I unhauled that book series years and years ago. And I have thought many times in the last like 2 years why I did that, because I remember liking them. I don't know why I unhauled them. And I've thought about getting them again and rereading them. Don't know if it'll ever happen, but so I listened to Warcross and I liked it. I thought it was fun, but it wasn't fun enough. Like, it was fun, but I didn't really care. Like, I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars because I don't know. I kind of want to give it a 3 out of 5 stars because, like, I didn't really care. And there was a lot of things that happened in the book that I felt like were ridiculous. Like the fact that she just leaves her best friend and never talks to her again. It's just like, okay, I'm going to Tokyo. Bye. Hope poverty works out for you. It was harsh. It was harsh. Also, the fact that this rich AF freaking Tokyo billionaire dude is like, I'm in love with you. But I think I gave it 4 out of 5 because I liked the ending. Like, I really did think that the ending was shocking. I feel like probably because I wasn't paying enough attention, because I didn't care that much. I need to go back and give this 3 out of 5 stars. What am I doing? I didn't like it that much. I need to give this 3 out of 5 stars. I don't know. I'm changing that. I'm an idiot. Okay. The next one I read is Sharp Objects. So this was a reread. And I am so glad that I waited the amount of time that I did to go back and reread it, because I had gotten to a point where I had forgotten a lot of things that happened in this. Also, the first time I read it, it was an Audible. And then this time I read the physical copy. Phenomenal. This is one of my favorite books of all time. Like, especially a kind of like Southern Gothic. I don't know if you can call it that, but like Southern Gothic, like thriller or mystery. It's so dark. It's so twisted. It's so psychologically messed up. I love this book. I love this book. The way that Gillian Flynn writes female characters, the way they're like, you're rooting for villains, is so incredibly entertaining to me. Like, I really, really, really cannot recommend this book enough. It is phenomenal. I am obsessed. Like, it's so good. And I highlighted all in this book. I loved it. I had just reread Gone Girl last month as a buddy read with my best friend, and we loved it. And then I picked this one up, and then I also have Dark Places on my TBR, even though I'm pretty sure I remember that being my least favorite of the 3 books. It had to have been, because I barely remember it. And this one was so phenomenal, and Gone Girl is another freaking phenomenal book. So yeah, super good, love it. 5 out of 5 stars, favorite. And then I listened to White Fragility by Robin DiAngelo, and phenomenal. It's really good. Like, it's more of an educational book, so I don't think it really needs to be rated. I mean, I gave it 5 out of 5 stars because it made me feel something, and I was very engaged reading it, but I don't really think you really need to like rate an educational book, but it was really good. I listened to the audio because that's how I need to read educational books, because I will just get bored and want to move on to something more exciting, and I'll just put it down and I'll DNF it forever. Like, I will just never pick it up again. But I read it. I really liked it. So, okay. The next one, oof, girl. Oh wait, did I forgot to talk about this one? Oh, I did. Okay. So I forgot to talk about this one, but I read This Is How You Lose a Time War. I read this in like 5 hours or 6 hours or something. or maybe it was, I don't remember. I know I started reading it at like 8 p.m. and I think I got done with it at like 3 a.m. So that's more than 5 hours. But I finished it very quickly. I don't know how to feel about this book. I don't know, because I definitely, like, I immediately put it on my Pride faves, but it was not a favorite book. I put it on Pride faves because the letters between the two characters, like, it's half told through letters between Red and Blue, and then the other half is like a book or is telling you kind of what's happening in their environment, or their lives. So the letters between them are what put this in my Pride faves. So good. The other part of the books, the book that wasn't letters, I didn't get it. I definitely did not feel smart reading this book, that's for sure. I felt like an idiot because I didn't understand what was happening. I felt like the book was purposely confusing. And if it was something where you were supposed to just make it up for yourself, I didn't get that. It felt like they were telling me something, but they weren't making it accessible to me. I still have so many questions about this book. Like, I need people to read this and tell me what happened in this book. Like, I don't know. I think I gave that one a 4 out of 5, and it probably is like even a stretch for me to have it at a 4 out of 5, but the letters to each other were so beautiful, and I really loved that. So the next book I read, oh, okay, so remember earlier when I read Riley Sager and I didn't like it? Loved this book. Love. 5 out of 5. Love this. Oh my God. Lock Every Door, Riley Sager. Also, look at this cover. All he does is good covers. And it's floppy. It has a lot of humidity damage, but we love her anyway. You know what? We love her because of her humidity damage. Because it's just beautiful. I devoured this. I couldn't stop reading it. I needed to know what was happening. I needed to know. I think I went on like 3 walks in one day because I needed to read this. I just needed to be doing something where all I could do was read. I needed to go outside. I needed to, because I can't sit and read. It's really difficult for me to sit and read, so I would just walk and read. Oh my God. Every time I thought I figured out what was happening, I was woefully mistaken. Like, woefully mistaken. I thought we went on a whole journey with this book. I was like, is it ghosts? Is it a curse? Is it like the living dead? Is it demons? Is it like poltergeists? Is it witchcraft? Sorcery? I don't know. I was like on a whole ass ride with this book. It took me everywhere that I didn't know I needed to go. Loved it. A+. Loved it. Let's see. Okay. The next one I read was My Sister the Serial Killer by let's see. I think do you pronounce it Oyenkin Braithwaite? Maybe not. You might be able to just see the author's name. I really liked this book. This is another one that I read so quickly. I could have read this in one sitting, and this is another that I put it in my apron at work, and I just read it while I was at work. It's so fast. Like, the chapters are literally, like, they're so quick. It's amazing. And this is something where it's like, is the book written phenomenally? No. But the concept of this book and the concept of this book is fantastic. And it's also, it had so many just extra little things that I wouldn't have gotten from another book, and extra little things that I would not have anticipated that made this so much better. Like, they are so cool. Like, this is something I want to see Netflix make into a TV show. I know, like, honestly, I think this would be better as like an HBO miniseries. Don't add more seasons, just make it like 3 episodes to 5 episodes and knock my socks off. This is so good. There was a lot of like cultural representation, a lot, especially in the Audible, which I read this, but I listened to part of the Audible, and the audio, and it's so good. Like, the audio is fantastic. The narrator is fantastic. You get a lot more out of the story, I think, listening to the narrator read it. I give this 5 out of 5 stars, even though it's something that is not written, you know, incredibly well. I think this might be her first ever book, which is so cool. Like, she really killed it. Yeah, I think it's her first book. It's very fun. I love it. Okay, the next thing I read was Behind Her Eyes, and that's by Sarah Pinborough, and I really liked that book. I was shocked at how much I liked it, because I didn't know anything about it, and it looked very just basic. But no, it's not. It's not basic, y'all. It is not basic. It is so weird. It is so weird. It was one of those books that it was like, I loved it because I had no idea what was happening. Like, I feel like in the beginning I was like, okay, you know, yeah, it's like a domestic abuse thing, maybe. Something's happening. It's a marital discourse. I'm not going to say really anything because read it for the twists, because boy howdy are there twists. There is twist, there's a turn. It's good. I gave it 4 out of 5 because I think I really liked it, but I don't know. I struggled a little with that because I really, really liked it, and I kind of wanted to give it 5 out of 5 stars, but I think that there was times in the first half of the book, like there was a lot of times in the first half of the book where I was like, okay. And in the second half of the book, enthralled, loved it. And then the last book that I read was Wilder Girls by Rory Power. And I don't feel bad about this, but I really didn't like it. I really didn't like it. I literally got, I almost bought it, the physical copy, and I'm glad I didn't because I really didn't like it. But I wanted to read it because, one, the cover is gorgeous, and also it has, people were saying it's like really queer. I found it disgusting, like the body horror. I'm not a fan of body horror. I don't like it. Creeps me out. It was gross and unnecessary. It did not seem necessary for like any. That's probably just me saying it because I don't like body horror, but I didn't like it. And I didn't think that the queer relationship went anywhere. I didn't think that it really meant anything. And I hated the ending of that book. I hated it. I hated it. I hated it. Hate it. Why? What was the point of writing the book in the freaking first place? Like, I'm upset. I didn't like it. It was a waste of my time. I gave it 2 out of 5 because it didn't, like, it insulted me a little bit because I hated the ending so much, and the rest of the book just wasn't that great. But I gave it a 2 out of 5 because, you know what? It was okay. It was okay. It's fine. Yeah, anyway. So that's what I've read in June. And oh, by the way, the reason that it was 23 books is because I read Radio Silence twice. So that was all 22 books. And then if you add Radio Silence on there, it's 23. Hopefully I was able to figure out putting the pictures up of the books. I've never done that before. And I might just not figure it out because it takes too long. We'll see. But anyway, this is kind of an experiment. We'll see how it goes, see if I like it, if I did this properly, and maybe I'll make more. I would really like to review Bunny by Mona Awad because I just read that book. Loved it. Like, so good. Anyway, I will let you go for now, presumably, and hopefully I will see you again.